The crash of shattering glass jolted me from my fitful sleep. I bolted upright, heart pounding, as Martha's shrill voice pierced the air. "Alex! Come quick! I've broken my favorite vase." I groaned, rubbing my eyes as I glanced at the clock. 3:17 a.m. This was the third time this week my mother-in-law had woken us in the middle of the night. I turned to Alex, expecting to see him stirring, but he was already out of bed, rushing to his mother's aid. "It's okay, Mom." I heard him soothe from down the hall. "We'll get you a new one tomorrow." I sighed, knowing full well who'd be footing the bill for that replacement. As I swung my legs over the side of the bed, my daughter Emily appeared in the doorway, her face etched with worry. "Is everything all right, Mom?" she asked, her voice small and uncertain. I forced a smile. "Everything's fine, sweetie. Grandma just had a little accident. Go back to bed." Emily hesitated, then nodded and retreated to her room. I followed her out, determined to assess the damage. As I approached Martha's room, which used to be our guest room, I overheard her conversation with Alex. "Oh, darling, it was such a beautiful piece. Imported from Italy, you know. I simply must have another one just like it." "Of course, Mom," Alex replied, his tone placating. "We'll go shopping first thing in the morning." I stepped into view, arms crossed. "Alex, can I talk to you for a moment?" He looked up, startled, as if he'd forgotten I existed. "Becky, honey, can't it wait until morning? Mom's upset." "It's important," I insisted, my jaw clenched. Alex sighed, patting his mother's hand. "I'll be right back, Mom." We stepped into the hallway, and I wasted no time. "Alex, we can't afford to keep replacing everything she breaks. Do you know how much that vase cost?" He ran a hand through his hair, avoiding my gaze. I know. But what am I supposed to do? She's grieving, Becky. It's only been 6 months since Dad passed." "I understand that," I said, trying to keep my voice low. "But she's burning through our savings. The credit card bills are piling up, and Emily needs new clothes for school." Alex's face hardened. "My mother needs us right now. Emily can make do with what she has for a little longer." I felt my temper flare. "And what about what we need? What about our family?" "Mom is family," he snapped. "Alex?" Martha's voice drifted from the bedroom. "Is everything all right?" "Fine, Mom," he called back, then turned to me. "We'll discuss this later. Go back to bed." As he retreated to Martha's room, I stood there, seething. This wasn't the first time Alex had chosen his mother's comfort over our family's needs, and I had a sinking feeling it wouldn't be the last. I made my way to the kitchen, knowing sleep would elude me now. As I filled the kettle for tea, I noticed a stack of shopping bags in the corner, more of Martha's recent purchases. Curiosity got the better of me, and I peeked inside one of the bags. My breath caught as I pulled out a designer handbag, the price tag still attached. The cost was more than our monthly grocery budget. "What are you doing?" I whirled around to find Martha standing in the doorway, her eyes narrowed suspiciously. I was just tidying up," I lied, hastily shoving the bag back into place. She sniffed, clearly not believing me. "Well, since you're up, be a dear and make me some chamomile tea. This dreadful accident has left me quite shaken." I bit back a retort, forcing a smile. "Of course, Martha, coming right up." As I prepared her tea, my mind raced. How much longer could we go on like this? Something had to give, and soon. Little did I know this was just the beginning of a storm that would tear our family apart and force me to fight for everything I held dear. I stared at the credit card statement in disbelief, my hands shaking. The balance had nearly doubled since last month, and I knew exactly why. Martha's shopping sprees were spiraling out of control. "Alex, we need to talk," I called out, my voice strained. He sauntered into the kitchen, coffee mug in hand. "What's up, honey?" I thrust the statement at him. "This is what's up. Your mother's spending is out of control. We can't keep living like this." Alex's face hardened as he glanced at the paper. "Come on, Becky. It's not that bad. Mom's just trying to feel better after losing Dad." "Not that bad," I sputtered. "Alex, we're talking thousands of dollars here. On what? Designer clothes? Antiques? Things we don't need and can't afford." He set his mug down with a clank. "What do you want me to do? Tell her she can't buy things? She's grieving, Becky." "It's been 8 months, Alex. Grief doesn't justify financial ruin." Just then, Martha breezed into the kitchen, decked out in what looked like a brand new "Good morning, dears. Alex, be a love and take me shopping today. I simply must have those new throw pillows I saw in the catalog." I watched in horror as Alex nodded without hesitation. Sure, Mom. We'll go after breakfast. Alex, I hissed, but he shot me a warning look. Martha turned to me, her smile sickeningly sweet. Oh, Becky, I almost forgot. I accidentally spilled some wine on that quilt your grandmother made. I'll need you to take it to the cleaners. My blood ran cold. That quilt was a family heirloom, irreplaceable. You what? It's just a quilt, dear, Martha said dismissively. No need to get upset. I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. Alex quickly intervened. Don't worry, Mom. We'll take care of it. As Martha sashayed out of the kitchen, I rounded on Alex. How can you let her treat our things, my family heirlooms, like this? He sighed, rubbing his temples. It was an accident, Becky. Let it go. Let it go? Like I'm supposed to let go of our savings? Our future? Emily's college fund? Alex's eyes flashed. That's enough. I won't have you talking about my mother like this. She's family, and we take care of family. What about our family? I shot back. What about Emily? She needs new clothes for school, but we can't afford them because your mother's buying $500 throw pillows. We'll figure it out, he said dismissively. Now, I need to get ready to take Mom shopping. As he walked away, I felt something inside me snap. I grabbed my phone and dialed my sister's number. Mackenzie? I need to talk. Can we meet for coffee? An hour later, I sat across from my sister in our favorite cafe, pouring out my frustrations. Mackenzie listened intently, her brow furrowed. Becky, this isn't healthy. For any of you. Have you considered counseling? I laughed bitterly. Alex won't hear of it. He thinks everything's fine. And what about you? She asked gently. What do you think? I stared into my coffee, fighting back tears. I think I'm losing my husband and my sanity. Mackenzie reached across the table, squeezing my hand. You need to stand up for yourself, Becky. For Emily, too. This can't go on. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from Alex. Mom wants to redo the guest room. Picking out furniture now. Don't wait up. I showed Mackenzie the message, my hands trembling with anger. Her eyes widened. The guest room? Isn't that where Emily's been sleeping since Martha moved in? I nodded, a lump forming in my throat. What am I going to do, Mac? How did it come to this? Mackenzie's gaze hardened with determination. You're going to fight, sis. It's time to take back control of your life, and I'll be right here to help you do it. As I left the cafe, a mix of fear and resolve churned in my stomach. I knew a storm was coming, and I had to be ready to weather it, for myself and for Emily. I stood in the doorway of Emily's room, my heart sinking as I watched her pack her belongings into cardboard boxes. The hurt in her eyes was palpable, and it tore at my soul. Mom, why do I have to move? Emily asked, her voice cracking. This is my room. I swallowed hard, trying to keep my composure. I know, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. Your father thinks it's best if Grandma has more space. Emily slammed a book into a box. More space? For what? Her stupid antiques? Before I could respond, Alex appeared behind me. What's going on here? I turned to face him, steeling myself. Emily's upset about moving rooms, and frankly, so am I. Alex's jaw tightened. We've been over this, Becky. Mom needs the extra space. For what? I challenged. Her endless shopping sprees? That's enough, Alex snapped. Emily, finish packing. You're moving to the basement today. Emily's eyes widened in disbelief. The basement? But it's cold and damp down there. I couldn't hold back any longer. Alex, this is ridiculous. You can't put our daughter in the basement. He grabbed my arm, pulling me into the hallway. I said that's enough. This isn't up for discussion. I yanked my arm free, fury building inside me. Like hell it isn't. This is our daughter we're talking about. Mom's comfort is important too, Alex insisted. More important than Emily's? I shot back. Our raised voices drew Martha from her room. She glided towards us, a look of feigned concern on her face. What's all this fuss about? Alex turned to his mother, his voice softening. It's nothing, Mom. We're just discussing Emily's room change. Martha's eyes lit up. Oh yes, I can't wait to start decorating. I'm thinking of a Parisian theme. It'll be simply divine. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Martha, this is Emily's room. She's lived here her entire life. Martha waved her hand dismissively. She's young. She'll adapt. Now, Alex dear, I need you to take me shopping for new curtains. I watched in horror as Alex nodded, completely disregarding the pain he was causing his own daughter. Something inside me snapped. No, I said firmly. Alex and Martha turned to me, shocked. What did you say? Alex demanded. I said no, I repeated, my voice growing stronger. Emily is not moving to the basement. This is her room, and she's staying in it. Martha's face contorted with anger. How dare you speak to me like that in my own home? Your home, I laughed bitterly. This is our home. The home Alex and I built together. The home where we raised our daughter. Alex stepped between us. Becky, you're out of line. Apologize to my mother. I stared at him in disbelief. Apologize? For what? For standing up for our daughter? Emily appeared in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. Stop it! Just stop fighting! The sight of my daughter's distress fueled my resolve. I turned to Alex, my voice low and determined. This ends now. Either Martha goes or Emily and I do. A heavy silence fell over the hallway. Alex's face paled as he realized the gravity of the situation. Martha sputtered indignantly, but for once, she seemed at a loss for words. Emily moved to my side, gripping my hand tightly. I squeezed back, drawing strength from her presence. Alex looked between us and his mother, conflict etched across his face. Becky, you can't be serious. You wouldn't leave. I met his gaze steadily. Try me. As we stood there, the air thick with tension, I realized we had reached a turning point. There was no going back now. Whatever happened next would change our family forever. I took a deep breath, bracing myself for the storm that was about to break. So, Alex, I said, my voice barely above a whisper, what's it going to be? The tension in our house was suffocating. After my ultimatum, Alex had reluctantly agreed to let Emily keep her room, but the rift between us had only widened. Martha, for her part, had retreated into a sullen silence, punctuated by dramatic sighs and pointed glares in my direction. It was in this strained atmosphere that Alex announced his grand plan to fix everything. We're having a family dinner tonight, he declared over breakfast. Mom's idea. She wants to smooth things over. I eyed him skeptically. And how exactly is dinner supposed to fix this? Alex's smile was strained. Just give it a chance, Becky, please? Against my better judgment, I agreed. That evening, I found myself helping Martha in the kitchen, chopping vegetables while she stirred a pot on the stove. I hope you like bouillabaisse, Martha chirped, her tone overly sweet. It's Alex's favorite. I froze, knife hovering over a carrot. Bouillabaisse? Martha, you know Emily's allergic to shellfish. She waved a hand dismissively. Oh, I'm sure it's not that serious. Besides, she can pick around it. Before I could protest further, Alex walked in. Smells great, Mom. What are we having? Your favorite, dear. Martha beamed. Bouillabaisse. I waited for Alex to object, to remember his daughter's allergy. Instead, he grinned. Perfect. I haven't had that in ages. My blood began to boil. Alex, a word? I pulled him into the hallway, keeping my voice low. Have you forgotten about Emily's allergy? She can't eat that. Alex rolled his eyes. Come on, Becky. It's not like she'll die from it. She can have a salad or something. I stared at him, dumbfounded. Are you serious right now? This is our daughter's health we're talking about. You're overreacting, he snapped. Just let Mom have this, okay? She's trying to make peace. As Alex stormed back to the kitchen, I felt a familiar hand on my shoulder. Emily had overheard everything. It's okay, Mom, she said softly. I'll just eat the bread. My heart broke at the resignation in her voice. No, sweetie, this isn't okay. Dinner was a tense affair. Martha prattled on about her latest shopping finds while Alex nodded along enthusiastically. I pushed food around my plate, my appetite gone. Emily sat silently, nibbling on a piece of bread. Emily, dear, Martha suddenly addressed her. You've hardly touched your food. Don't you like Grandma's cooking? Emily shifted uncomfortably. I can't eat it, Grandma. Remember? I'm allergic to shellfish. Martha's eyes narrowed. Don't be ridiculous. A little seafood never hurt anyone. You're just being picky. Mom, Alex interjected, maybe you could make Emily a sandwich or something? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you kidding me? Your mother makes a meal our daughter is allergic to, and your solution is to have Emily make her own dinner? Martha huffed. Well, I certainly didn't slave over a hot stove all day to cater to her imaginary allergies. That was the last straw. Emily burst into tears and ran from the table. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. Imaginary, I seethed. The last time Emily ate shellfish, she ended up in the hospital. But I guess that was just her imagination too, right? Alex stood as well, his face red with anger. That's enough, Becky. You're ruining dinner. I'm ruining dinner? I laughed bitterly. You two are unbelievable. Your own daughter's health means nothing to you. As I turned to go after Emily, Martha's voice stopped me cold. You know, Alex, I always said you married beneath you, and now look at the ungrateful brats you've raised. The room fell silent. I looked at Alex, waiting for him to defend us, to stand up to his mother at last, but he said nothing. In that moment, I knew. This wasn't just about tonight's dinner. This was about years of neglect, of choosing his mother over his family. And I was done. I met Alex's gaze, my voice steady. Pack your bags. Emily and I are leaving tonight. As I walked out of the dining room to comfort my daughter and plan our escape, I felt a strange mix of fear and exhilaration. Our lives were about to change dramatically, but for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe again. I sat on Mackenzie's couch, clutching a mug of tea that had long since gone cold. Emily was asleep in the guest room, exhausted from crying. We'd been at my sister's house for 3 days now, and I still felt like I was in a daze. Becky, Mackenzie said gently, you need to decide what you're going to do next. I nodded, my eyes burning with unshed tears. I know. I never thought it would come to this. Mackenzie reached out and squeezed my hand. Alex has called you 12 times. Have you listened to any of his messages? I shook my head. I can't. Not yet. Every time I think about that dinner, about how he just sat there while Martha... My voice broke, and Mackenzie pulled me into a hug. I know, sis, I know. As I pulled away, wiping my eyes, my phone buzzed. Another message from Alex. This time, curiosity got the better of me, and I hit play. Becky, please, Alex's voice crackled through the speaker. Come home. We can work this out. Mom's agreed to move into an apartment nearby. Please just give us another chance. I looked at Mackenzie, my heart racing. He says Martha's moving out. My sister's eyes narrowed. And you believe that? The doubt in her voice mirrored my own. I sighed, deleting the message. No, I don't. Mackenzie nodded, then hesitated. Becky, there's something you need to see. She pulled out her laptop and opened a series of documents. As I scanned them, my blood ran cold. What is this? I whispered. Bank statements, Mackenzie replied. I had a friend look into your finances. Alex has been funneling money into a separate account for months, an account in Martha's name. The room spun as the implications hit me. All those times I'd questioned our dwindling savings, all the excuses Alex had made. He's been lying to me, I said, my voice hollow. All this time he's been... Stealing from you, Mackenzie finished. From Emily's college fund, from your retirement savings, everything. A wave of nausea washed over me. How much? Mackenzie's face was grim. Almost everything, Becky. If you don't act soon, there might not be anything left. I stood up abruptly, pacing the room. Anger, betrayal, and fear warred within me. What am I going to do? How can I protect Emily, our future? Mackenzie stood, placing her hands on my shoulders to still my frantic movement. You fight, Becky. You take control. Starting now. She guided me back to the couch and opened another document on her laptop. I've drafted divorce papers. All you have to do is sign. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. This was it, the point of no return. If I do this, I said slowly, there's no going back. Mackenzie nodded. No, there isn't. But think about Emily. Think about yourself. You deserve better than this, Becky. Both of you do. As if on cue, Emily appeared in the doorway, her eyes red-rimmed but determined. Mom, what's going on? I looked at my daughter, seeing the strength and resilience that mirrored my own. In that moment, I knew what I had to do. Come here, sweetie, I said, patting the couch beside me. As Emily sat down, I took a deep breath. We need to talk about the future, our future. Emily's eyes widened as she looked at the laptop screen. Are we? I nodded, feeling a strange sense of calm settle over me. Yes, honey. I'm filing for divorce. We're starting over. To my surprise, Emily's face broke into a relieved smile. Good, she said firmly. We don't need them, Mom. We'll be okay on our own. Tears pricked my eyes as I hugged my daughter close. Over her shoulder, I met Mackenzie's gaze and nodded. You're right, I said, reaching for the pen. We will be okay. As I signed my name on the divorce papers, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The road ahead would be hard, but for the first time in years, I felt hope. Hope for a future free from manipulation and betrayal. Hope for a life where Emily and I could thrive. I closed the laptop, my decision made. Mackenzie, can you call your lawyer friend? It's time to take back our lives. The lawyer's office felt suffocating as I sat across from Alex, the divorce papers between us like a chasm. Mackenzie squeezed my hand under the table, a silent reminder of her support. Emily waited outside, insisting on being here despite my reservations. "You can't be serious about this, Becky," Alex pleaded, his eyes darting between me and the papers. "We can work it out. I'll send Mom to a retirement community, please." I steeled myself against the familiar pull of his words. "It's too late for that, Alex. You've made your choice, time and time again." Our lawyer, Sarah, cleared her throat. "Mr. Drew, we've outlined the division of assets. Given the circumstances, Mrs. Sullivan is entitled to—" "Entitled?" Alex's face contorted with anger. "She's not entitled to anything. It's my money." I felt a surge of righteous fury. "Your money? The money you've been funneling to your mother? The money from our daughter's college fund?" Alex paled, caught off guard. "How did you?" "It doesn't matter," I cut him off. "What matters is that you betrayed us, Alex, me and Emily both." Sarah intervened, her voice calm but firm. "Mr. Drew, given the evidence of financial misconduct, you're facing serious legal consequences. This settlement is more than fair." Alex's lawyer whispered urgently in his ear, but he shook his head, eyes blazing. "I won't sign. You can't make me." "Then we'll see you in court," Sarah replied coolly. As we stood to leave, the door burst open. Martha stormed in, her face a mask of fury. "You ungrateful witch! How dare you try to ruin my son's life?" Mackenzie stepped between us, but Martha was undeterred. "After everything we've done for you, Alex, don't you dare sign those papers. She doesn't deserve a penny." I watched as Alex's resolve visibly strengthened under his mother's influence. Any hope of an amicable resolution evaporated. "Fine," I said, my voice steady despite the trembling in my hands. "We'll do this the hard way." As we left the office, Emily rushed to my side. "Mom, what happened?" I hugged her close, my heart breaking at the worry in her eyes. "It's okay, sweetie. We're going to be okay." But as we drove home, the reality of our situation crashed over me. A lengthy court battle would drain what little resources we had left. How would I provide for Emily? How could I fight Alex and Martha's combined resources? At home, I excused myself and retreated to the bathroom, finally allowing the tears to fall. The weight of everything, the betrayal, the uncertainty, the fear, threatened to crush me. A soft knock interrupted my breakdown. "Mom?" Emily's voice called. "Can I come in?" I quickly wiped my eyes and opened the door. Emily took one look at me and wrapped her arms around my waist. "We're going to make it," she said fiercely. "We don't need them. We have each other." Her words, so full of conviction, pierced through my despair. I hugged her back, marveling at her strength. "You're right," I whispered. "We do have each other." As we stood there, I felt a shift inside me. The fear and doubt receded, replaced by a steely determination. Alex and Martha had underestimated me for the last time. I gently pulled away from Emily, meeting her gaze. "Honey, I need you to be strong for a little while longer. Things might get tough, but I promise you, I'm going to fight for us with everything I have." Emily nodded, her jaw set in a determined line that mirrored my own. "I know, Mom, and I'll be right here with you." In that moment, looking at my brave, resilient daughter, I knew I had to win this battle, not just for myself, but for her future, for the life we deserved. I took a deep breath, squaring my shoulders. "Okay," I said, more to myself than to Emily. "Let's show them what we're made of." As we walked out of the bathroom together, I felt a newfound resolve coursing through me. The road ahead would be hard, but I was ready to fight, ready to reclaim our lives, and ready to build a future free from Alex and Martha's toxic influence. The real battle was just beginning, and I was prepared to give it everything I had. The moving truck rumbled to life outside our house. No, Alex's house now. I stood in the barren living room, surrounded by empty spaces where our life together once resided. Emily appeared at my side, her face a mix of determination and apprehension. "Is this really happening, Mom?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I squeezed her hand. "Yes, sweetie, it's time." As if on cue, the front door burst open. Alex stormed in, his face contorted with rage. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I steeled myself, meeting his gaze. "We're leaving, Alex, for good." His eyes darted around the room, taking in the bare walls and empty spaces. "You can't just take everything. This is my house." "Your house?" I laughed bitterly. "Everything I'm taking, I bought with my own money. Money you didn't manage to funnel into your mother's account. Alex's face paled. You don't understand. Mom needed. Save it. I cut him off. We're done here. As we moved towards the door, Martha appeared, her eyes widening at the sight of the empty house. What have you done, you spiteful witch? I felt Emily tense beside me, but I stood my ground. I'm taking back what's rightfully ours, Martha. You've taken enough from us. Martha's face twisted with fury. She lunged forward, grabbing a vase, one of the few items left, and hurled it at us. I pushed Emily out of the way, feeling the sting as shards of ceramic sliced my arm. Mom, Emily cried out. That's assault! Mackenzie's voice rang out. She stood in the doorway, phone in hand, recording everything. It's all on video, Martha. Back off. Alex grabbed his mother's arm, finally seeming to realize the gravity of the situation. Mom, stop. This isn't helping. I clutched my bleeding arm, adrenaline coursing through me. We're leaving now. Our lawyer will be in touch. As we walked out, I heard Martha's shrill voice. You'll regret this, Rebecca. We'll destroy you in court. The drive to our new apartment was tense. Emily kept glancing at my arm, worry etched on her face. Are you okay, Mom? I managed to smile. I'm fine, sweetie. It's just a scratch. But inside I was trembling. Martha's threat echoed in my mind. Could they really destroy us in court? I thought of the meager savings we had left, the uncertain future ahead. At the new apartment, reality hit hard. Our furniture looked shabby in the harsh light of the empty rooms. Emily's face fell as she surveyed her tiny bedroom. It's cozy, she said, trying to sound upbeat. I felt a wave of guilt wash over me. I'm so sorry, Emily. I know this isn't what you're used to. She turned to me, her eyes fierce. Don't apologize, Mom. We're free now. That's what matters. As we unpacked, my phone buzzed incessantly. Texts from Alex, voicemails from Martha, emails from their lawyer. Each notification felt like a blow, chipping away at my resolve. Late that night, after Emily had gone to bed, I sat on our second-hand couch, overwhelmed by the enormity of what we'd done. The apartment felt alien, a far cry from the home we'd left behind. Doubt crept in, insidious and persistent. Had I made a terrible mistake? Could I really provide for Emily on my own? What if Martha was right, and they did destroy us in court? I buried my face in my hands, tears flowing freely. The weight of our uncertain future pressed down on me, threatening to crush my spirit. A soft touch on my shoulders startled me. Emily stood there, her eyes shining with unshed tears. Mom, are you okay? I tried to wipe away my tears to be strong for her, but I couldn't stop the sobs that racked my body. Emily sat beside me, wrapping her arms around me. It's okay, Mom, she whispered. We're going to be okay. As I clung to my daughter, I realized the true magnitude of what lay ahead. This wasn't just about surviving a divorce or standing up to Martha. This was about rebuilding our entire lives from the ground up. The road ahead was uncertain, fraught with legal battles and financial struggles. But looking at Emily, seeing her strength and resilience, I knew one thing for certain. We would face it together, no matter what came our way. I stood outside the courthouse, my heart pounding. Today was the final hearing in our divorce case. Emily squeezed my hand, her presence a steady anchor in the storm of emotions swirling within me. You've got this, Mom, she whispered. As we walked in, I caught sight of Alex and Martha. They looked haggard, a far cry from the polished, entitled pair they'd been months ago. Our eyes met, and for a moment I saw a flicker of regret in Alex's gaze. But then Martha whispered something in his ear, and his face hardened once more. The hearing was a blur of legal jargon and tense exchanges. Our lawyer presented evidence of Alex's financial misconduct, of Martha's lavish spending at our expense. I watched as the judge's expression grew increasingly stern. When it was my turn to speak, I stood on shaky legs, but as I began to recount our story, the years of manipulation, the disregard for Emily's well-being, the betrayal of our family's future, I felt a strength I didn't know I possessed surge through me. Your Honor, I concluded, my voice steady, I'm not asking for revenge. I'm asking for justice, for a chance to rebuild the life that was stolen from us. The judge's verdict came swiftly. In light of the evidence, she ruled heavily in our favor. Alex was ordered to repay the money he'd funneled to Martha, and a significant portion of our assets were awarded to me and Emily. As the gavel fell, I heard Martha's indignant shriek, "This is outrageous! We'll appeal!" But Alex's shoulders slumped in defeat. Our eyes met across the courtroom, and in that moment, I saw the man I'd once loved, the man who'd been lost to his mother's influence. He nodded once, a silent acknowledgement of the justice served. Outside the courthouse, Emily hugged me fiercely. "We did it, Mom. We really did it." Mackenzie joined our embrace, tears in her eyes. "I'm so proud of you both," she said. As we celebrated that night in our small apartment, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The road ahead would still be challenging, but for the first time in years, I felt hope for our future. Months passed, and slowly we rebuilt our lives. I threw myself into my work, earning a promotion that allowed us to move to a better apartment. Emily thrived in her new school, her confidence growing day by day. One afternoon, as I helped Emily prepare for her high school entrance exam, she paused, her expression serious. "Mom," she said softly, "I want you to know, I'm proud of you, for standing up to Dad and Grandma, for fighting for us. You're the strongest person I know." Tears welled in my eyes as I hugged her close. "Oh, sweetie, you're the one who gave me strength. We did this together." The day Emily's acceptance letter to the prestigious private high school arrived, we danced around the kitchen, laughing and crying in equal measure. As we collapsed on the couch, breathless with joy, I marveled at how far we'd come. "We made it, Em," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "Look at everything we've accomplished." Emily smiled, her eyes shining. "We did, Mom, and it's just the beginning." That night, as I lay in bed, I reflected on our journey. The pain, the fear, the uncertainty, it had all led us here to this moment of triumph. We'd faced down the storm and emerged stronger, our bond unbreakable. I thought of Alex and Martha, wondering if they'd found peace in the aftermath of our battle. Part of me hoped they had, that they'd learned from their mistakes. But a larger part of me realized it didn't matter anymore. We'd moved on, creating a life filled with love, respect, and mutual support. As I drifted off to sleep, I felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over me. For my daughter's resilience, for my sister's unwavering support, for the strength I'd discovered within myself. We'd weathered the storm, and now, finally, we were home. Our story wasn't one of revenge, but of reclamation. We'd reclaimed our dignity, our future, and most importantly, our right to happiness. And as I closed my eyes, I knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, stronger than ever before.